Most of the time, boats save us, but once in a while, we save them. In the case of this little 1964 Boston whaler and me, I think we actually saved each other. I first met her when a close friend bought her in the early 2000s. We both had other boats, but it was that little whaler that provided hours of fun for our kids and carried us to breakfasts along Lake Erie's Ohio shoreline. Well, the kids grew up, and that little whaler was used less and less. Finally, she sat mostly in the boatyard, on the trailer. Every time I saw her, though, I thought about the happy times with the kids who were no longer kids. Our daughter, our only child, got married at Put-in-Bay. And then she moved to Virginia. Her mom and I sold our house near Cleveland, kept our condo on Lake Erie, and moved to a home along the James River in Virginia. During the move, I was diagnosed with throat cancer. Treatable, but it was a significant hassle. During my radiation treatments, we learned that my friend had made the inevitable and the correct decision to put the little whaler up for sale. My daughter said to me, "Dad, we can't let the whaler get away." Well, we didn't let the whaler get away. We bought her from my friend. I knew she was old, but it's kind of impossible to critically inspect something you really care about. I just bought it without inspection. Besides, I wasn't physically able to become a discerning boat buyer, and it was the middle of the worst part of the COVID pandemic. I just knew I wanted that little whaler. And maybe fixing her up would be good therapy. In the spring of 2021, my daughter and I drove to Ohio, spent a great weekend watching a stormy Lake Erie, and then we towed the whaler back to Virginia. Within a week or two, we launched the whaler in the James River. And we got a glimpse of a new boating life for all of us, the whaler included. We even had a new crew member, a Cocker Spaniel, Clementine, who is literally addicted to swimming and appears to be even more excited about boat rides than the rest of us. It was really good to have something positive to anticipate. The whaler balked a little starting in cold weather. Her wood could use attention, and the gel coat was really bad. But she floated pretty well in the James River. I've never been very concerned about appearances, but boats do evoke a certain sense of pride, so a little fixing up seemed warranted. Still, I didn't know how much energy I could muster physically. Well, I did have a bunch of time. Maybe I could just refinish the outside of the hull. I started dremeling out the cracks. Well, maybe the inside of the hull could use a little work too. I thought maybe just doing the outside and the bow would spruce her up enough. I refastened the rub rail just functionally. I was still trying to avoid a complete restoration. That's when I pushed on the console and it moved when the boat didn't. Gosh, the little whaler might need some surgery too. To my surprise, tapping on the transom was encouraging and the deck was really solid. Well, if I was going this far, maybe the rub rail should be replaced too, and well, probably the wiring. I'm sure glad I loved that little boat enough to take on the task. It turned out to be very good mental medicine. The better that boat started looking, the better I started feeling. It's a strange thing, but we really did kind of cure each other. Here are a few technical items. All of the fillers and finishes were Total Boat from Jamestown Distributors. The pitting and gel coat cracks were dremeled, filled with Total Fair, and sanded, sealed with Total Protect below the waterline, and roller top coated with wet edge high gloss polyurethane above the waterline. Or I needed more strength, like filling rivet holes from the old rub rail, I used my old standby Marine Tex. Another old standby 3M 5200 was my choice for bedding. Instead of building the wood parts from scratch, most of my woodworking tools were up in Ohio. I purchased the pieces from Specialty Marine, which you can find online. I was happy with all of the suppliers and really happy with the results. I did make one modification to the 2007 75 horsepower E-Tech outboard. The original equipment starter proved to be a little too weak for cold weather starts, and that's a factor here in Virginia on the James River in the wintertime. I upgraded to a starter that Evinrude upgraded to in 2010 for the 75 and 90 horsepower E-Techs. It required a little modification to the housing around the flywheel, but that was an easy Dremel tool cutout of plastic. Another significant change was the replacement of the steel 20-gallon tank behind the helm seat that you saw in some previous pictures with 3 6-gallon tanks and 1 3-gallon polyethylene tank that are stored under the console when in use. We also moved the battery from the stern to the console. After the boat was done, the trailer needed some work. I had the old tilt trailer welded to eliminate the latch. It was just a little concerning, and we had new bearings, new tires, new winch, new wiring and lights, all the amenities. Have to mention a local yard, Hampton Marine Services, loaned me the stands to remove the boat in its garage while I worked on the trailer. Well, that's the story of the little 1964 whaler that moved from Lake Erie to the James River and saved me in the process. I'm really looking forward to more hours for the old girl and me, the even older captain. She's the first boat I've owned that I can honestly say someone has complimented on every outing. I've become fairly invisible, but they sure like that little whaler. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this inspires your own projects and that you each have something and someone that you love in your life when you really need them.